Alright, you see the title. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do RENE wide style hypnotic techno. I'm going to be showing you a ton of new techniques, so make sure you stick around to the end. Some stuff I've never shown on YouTube before. You can get this entire track template at the top of the description on my website with all these layers, so you can go, and all the samples and MIDI as well, so you can go and build your own super awesome techno tracks. Links at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, guys, and let's dive in. We're on 133 BPM. The first thing we have up here are our stabs. So as you can hear, we got three elements kind of creating their own groove. It starts with this tom. So I've synthesized this using the drum synth tom. You can also kind of hear that it's a little bit dissonant with the other ones, which sounds cool in this context. Right, all this like weird dissonance creates a lot of the atmosphere in this kind of techno. So this is using this drum synth. It's one of the Max for Live things that comes with Ableton, right? I've got this down here set like this. So it's kind of like, yeah, this short punchy hit, right? It almost sounds more like a synth than like a tom. I'll show you what it sounds like coming straight out of the synth, and then we can go through the effects. So that's what we're getting right out of the synth. Then I got an overdrive. Super short hybrid reverb, which you can hear is just like not even doing that much, but just kind of putting it in a room. Drum bus, which you can hear really brings that out and just makes it a little bit more animated and colorful. Then I got this auto pan to give it like a side chaining effect with the kick. Right? And then we're high passing it. So then we get this wavetable stab. It just hits on that eighth note at the end of every bar. What this is doing is it's just playing F, right? That one note. And then I've got this wavetable sound here. It's this clip sweep wavetable. What we're doing though is kind of a little bit of weird stuff. We basically got this envelope that's really short. Right, you can hear that on the filter as well as on the wavetable position. And then I have an LFO at the end of that. So it's like this. Like just a short pluck. But then the LFO, you can see I actually dragged the offset so that it kind of goes into the wave. So it's like, and then it opens, right? If I play. Right, and so it kind of gives you a cooler movement in that, and this being a bit shorter also, it makes it more mysterious. You just hear like that, right? So it's a lot of playing with the note length and then playing with these weird modulations. I've got a bit of really short reverb on this as well. I really like using hybrid reverb to just put it in a room like that. A bit of drum bus and then a high pass filter. Then we got this operator one. So this starts at that eighth note at the start of every bar. So you kind of get these two talking to each other. Right, and that can be really effective in these tracks because it kind of like restarts the bar and lets you know where you are. Obviously, like if we just play a lot of these drums here, for example, it's really repetitive and stuff. So this stuff kind of tells you where you are in the track. Right, so for this one, it's operator. We got a saw wave, and then I got some FM from the sine wave, which is pretty detuned. Right, so we're creating like that. And then I've just got a low pass filter with a short envelope on it. And not even that much of the envelope. Like I kind of wanted it to be a bit darker and more mysterious. Then we got this reverb, which is pretty short here. As well as this delay. Right, so it's like a really, really fast delay, and then I have the ducking turned on. So then what it does is it ducks out of the way while you're hearing the sound. And then the delay jumps up, right? If I turn up the dry wet, right, you can see it's a really short delay, but it gives it more vibe, especially with the dissonance going into the really short delay. And then the auto pan sidechain. Then we got our rumble kick. So what we're doing here, 909 kick, no effects processing, but I'm processing the sample, pitching it to make it hit a little bit more. Sometimes making your kick higher like this, like I just brought it up +1, can actually really make it punch through the mix. Like, not even for the sake of tuning it to the same key, but just like, it's literally just like opens it up a little bit. If I bring it back down. See, it's super subtle, but it does just have a little bit more punch through the mix. I also made it a bit shorter to work with the bass, and then we got the bass. So, this is a new rumble method. I haven't shown you guys this one before. What we're doing here is we're starting with this. It's actually a piece of an amen break. If I show you the sample, it's literally, yeah, that. I'm taking a piece of this. And what we're doing is it's really, really low. Like minus 46. And then I have a pitch envelope on that. Which sounds crazy, but you can see it's going up. So it's like it starts low and then it goes up. So we're basically just giving it a bit of movement. And then I low pass that. You can already hear the rumble, right? We're just basically focusing in on the low frequencies that are present. Another low pass, which is really more like a band pass, where we're cutting a little bit of low end, but like some sub below 25 hertz, just the stuff you can't really hear. And then, yeah, cutting a little bit more. Because, see, it's a bit deeper that way. And then you take a limiter. And we're just pushing it like way up and also kind of flattening it so it makes a really steady, fat wave. And you can hear, yeah, it just really gives it the power. We then convert it to mono because you always want your bass to be mono. And then sidechain it to the kick. And there you go. So that's a really good way of making the rumble. And what happens is it creates a lot more texture too. Like, it's just not that same flat kind of thing every time. It's a little bit more interesting because also you can use a lot of different samples. Like, let's just grab, like, we got other breakbeats in here. Let's just try grabbing one of those and bringing it in. There we go. We have a whole new rumble. So I definitely recommend trying that method. It's a really good new way to make rumbles. Then we got our hi-hats. So we got the main hi-hat. 909 hi-hat that we're making a lot shorter. I think that's really important with this. I've noticed is like it's this really careful attention to like the amp envelope on the hi-hat. So it's just really, really punchy, and then it bounces off the kick bass really well. And then this one, which again, I pitched down a lot, and I also shaped the amplitude envelope. So it's a bit deeper, and it goes up. We also have some shakers. Right, and you can hear this one really clearly because it has that lower tone to it. Then, yeah, we got our first shaker. A bit of swing, you can see. I just dragged the notes back a little. And this auto pan, and then this operator. Which is also making a shaker, but it's synthesized. So we're basically taking white noise and shaping the amp envelope with a bit of attack and just making it like a shaker. And then high passing it to get rid of the lows. And yeah, it grooves well with the other one. To create these kind of grooves you hear in these tracks, it's a lot of this, where you're basically like combining shakers and creating something more organic that way. Like, I think just one, it doesn't have like as much just interesting texture to it. Then we got these little stabs, which you can hear with the hi-hats. So this one, we're really just playing with this sample, which kind of has some cool movement to it. Right, you can hear it bounces off well. If you put it, it's like on a 16th note there, so it kind of is going to bounce into that hi-hat nicely. It's really just that, and then it hits every 2 bars. And then the other one is this tom, which is kind of like the response to that, right? The way I did this, so I dragged the start time forward, and then we're just pitching it down a lot and shaping the amp envelope. Again, you find a lot of texture pitching stuff down, especially for this kind of techno. I recommend trying this on a lot of different stuff. We've got this little operator percussion. Right, it's just the same thing twice in the bar. Creates a bit of groove too against like the super main drums. So the way we're making this is it's made using operator. So I've got this FM algorithm where it's like doing this, and then I've got these all at different octaves. And they're super detuned, which helps with the percussiveness too, because if I get rid of that, right, you can hear a pitch really clearly. This kind of makes it so when you're changing notes, you're really changing like timbres. Right, it starts to lose the note and it just becomes more so like different textures. And that becomes interesting too, because then you can like, yeah, you can play it all across the keyboard and get a bunch of different textures. We've got a bit of echo really fast. And that's giving it a bit of stereo, plus this grain delay, which is really fast too. A bit of drum bus. And then a high pass filter. Drum bus is really good with operator percussion because it does really help bring it into like being a bit more percussive. So then we got these crazy kind of loops. So it starts with this one. I was trying to make some of that percussion where you really can't tell like what's going on and it's just really crazy. What it is it's a break beat. It's this. It's literally an amen break, and you can use kind of like any percussion loop. That's the cool thing, you know, you could use a lot of different stuff. That was kind of just what worked really well here. You put it on texture mode on the warp, so it's like as you pitch stuff up, it just really brings out like that. Right, so I've got this at like 2 octaves and 1 semitone up, 25. And then what we're doing is then we got an auto pan doing 16th notes, and there's no phase, so it's right, you can hear it shaping that to be a little more percussive and a little bit tighter on the 16th notes. Then we have this auto filter with a comb. Just moving around like that. And then finally it's got a really harsh auto pan sidechain. And you get all that movement. Then this one, very similar, but this one's up higher, and also beats warp mode. That can work as well. It's basically beats, tones, and texture will give you this. Right, when you go on complex, you don't really get that anymore. So that's what that sounds like, and then I'm putting this auto filter on the vowel setting. And it's not moving around quite as much, but you can hear it's just giving it a little bit of movement. Plus another auto pan 16th note. A bit of grain delay, which really freaks it out, and then an auto pan sidechain. And yeah, it's a really good way to add that like freaky kind of percussion. We've also got this one. However, I made this one a little bit differently. So I had this. It was this breakbeat. I pitched it way up, like higher than the other ones, and it's on beats mode. So you're getting that, and then I have over here, you can see I froze it. Like I literally just consolidated that. And then once you have that consolidated, I did this. Slice to new MIDI track, quarter notes. And then I got this drum rack here where we have all these little chops. Right, it sounds pretty crazy on its own, but it's basically I just picked those 3 and made this repetitive pattern. Then we got another comb filter moving around. This one's super fast, but it works really well on this. Sidechain and then a high pass. Right, and it's a little bit crazy, but it adds that more organic, weird kind of like thing to the background of the track. We got a little rim shot. I've noticed this in a lot of these tracks is literally just having the rim shot go like kind of with the hi-hats and the kicking like that. Right, I had to pitch this one up quite a bit. Definitely play around with that. We also got this clap pattern. right, doing like that. It adds a lot of groove and makes it a lot more kind of just moving. Plus we got this little ride cymbal, like an old school drum machine, and then I just have a high pass and a side chain on there. And then we got some atmosphere stuff. So it starts with this. So this one's simple. It's essentially like cinematic kind of sounds. I think what's hard about this one is you just gotta track these down. You can use this one, or like I said, like just finding different, like, yeah, just kind of cinematic, weird, alien kind of textures, high pass and side chain. I've got one that I made here with Operator. So it's starting like this. We've got this FM thing where it's actually not, sorry, I'm going to say FM algorithm where it's not doing any FM actually. We just have these waves all tuned to different frequencies playing together, right? The first one is an octave up, but then these other ones are just super detuned. If I take them back down, right? Like, it's like improper notes that wouldn't work together, but it creates a great techno tension. There's this waveform that I've drawn in like that. There's the Saw 64 with, I moved the phase forward. We've got this also one that I drew in, and then just a saw. And then there's this filter where it's morphing between the low pass and band pass, and it's moving really slow with the envelope. And a little bit of this sample and hold, aka random LFO, on the pitch and on the filter. So if I turn that off, it's really subtle, but it does give it a little bit of movement. Then we got this hybrid reverb with like a plate, side chain, and high pass. I can see it fits in with that other one and just kind of adds to the atmosphere. And then we got these. So I think this is really important. This kind of techno can get boring. I'm not going to lie to you, right? If you literally just hear this for too long without the crazy thing. But if you just hear this for too long, right, it is repetitive. But if you add some little effects jumping in like this, it can really do a lot for your track. And it's really more so about finding cool sounds. You can also record these, right? Like Foley sounds. I mean, even if I just take like my little thing of modular screws here, right? You could do something like that and maybe pitch it down, right? These are a bunch of different ones I had made over the years that I have collected in a little library I've made, but right, it's just kind of playing with like little Foley sounds, giving it a little bit of delay, side chain, and high pass, and then it's just going to add something fresh to keep your track moving. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments. And you can get this whole template at the top of the description on my website if you haven't already. Make sure to grab that. It's just $5, but it's going to help you make an awesome techno track today so that we can all make better music the second you download it. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.